Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back to the SAT course with Educademy. My name is Ahmed Musallam. Today's inshallah class will be about command of evidence. Command of evidence refers to the strengthen and weaken questions, okay, to strengthen a question or weaken it, or the inference questions as well. In command of evidence, textual questions, you need to use textual evidence like fact, detail, example to appropriately support the challenge or otherwise respond to a specified claim or point. In that scenario, you have two types of questions. One of them is science or social sciences, about hypothesis, a claim, okay, to be presented, okay, about the subject in science. You need to understand the researcher's hypothesis, identify it, okay, and then what the question is from you, and also select the choice that offers the outcome. It is very important to understand the hypothesis first, okay. The other type is literary, which is mainly about poem or literary work like a novel or something, and he asks you to say the quotation, or I have a quotation that needs you to explain it. Otherwise, okay, you will have to understand the question very well first to know what is needed from you. The strategy, okay, these are two types of questions, but they have the same strategy. First of all, you read the question, understand it, okay, you see words like illustrate, support, weaken, strengthen, claim, argument, hypothesis, okay, so all these words you may find in the question. Then do as required, identify the claim or hypothesis. Very important to know where to go first, okay. Then rephrase the claim in your mind, and then you compare the answer choices, eliminate the ones which do not answer the question, okay, or are irrelevant. Let's have an example for this. Okay, here's asking which quotation from Daffodils most effectively illustrates the claim. First of all, I have to find the claim. Okay, so for example here, Daffodils is a poem by William Wordsworth, written in the early 1800s. In the poem, the poet describes, this is the word, that, or maybe claims, okay, describe the experience of coming across a field. Now every word from here has a value. The experience of coming across a field of beautiful daffodils, which type of plants, using a hyperbole. This is the keyword that you need, followed by personification. Okay, just for information guys, personification, when you give characteristics of a human being to something, okay. So if something, for example, talks, or a lion, for example, we say that the lion or the horse is could be give him a trait. A horse is beautiful, like for example a beautiful girl, okay, or maybe the lion roars aloud like my father, for example. Okay, you give the thing or not non-human thing a characteristic of a human being. This is the personification. The opposite of it is the metaphor. When you give the traits of things to people, like for example, he's brave like a lion, he's fast like a horse, he's a horse when he runs. He's a horse when he runs. This is a metaphor, because the simile will use like or as, okay. So we have three things you have to understand: personification, when things give the traits of a human being; metaphor, when the human being got the traits of something; and the simile, when you use like or as, when you describe a person with something, okay. Anyway, we need to understand the question. Field beautiful of daffodils, using hyperbole, followed by personification. You have to have these two things. If you look at the questions here, you'll find that, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Anything here related to hyperbole or personification? Yes, personification here. The heart dances with daffodils. Heart doesn't dance, so we give it a trait of a person, so it's called personification. Now we have personification, but we don't have a hyperbole. Hyperbole means exaggeration in number, okay. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. I saw a crowd here, this hyperbole, but there is no personification. So A is out, B is out. 10,000 saw I at a glance. 10,000 here is hyperbole, tossing their heads. Aha, personification here in a sprightly dance. So the daffodils now, as if they have heads and they are tossing it, okay, on their own, not because of the wind. So here there is hyperbole and then followed by personification, so most likely C will be correct, but I have to look at D as well. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. Okay, can't be happy, okay, but be happy in such a jocund company. There is nothing here, hyperbole or personification, so the answer will be C. Okay, just explain to you guys how to do with the quotation. Next one, inshallah, you will try to pause the video and do it in your own. There's the other type here, okay, when you have a question like this. If true, which of the following most calls into, this is the keyword here, calls into a negative word, that means undermine, weaken the question, the conclusion above. So there is a conclusion here, it can be concluded. Therefore, if no sick remains in production, the banjo bush will eventually become extinct. You may understand what is needed in the conclusion and you answer directly, or it's better for you to read from the beginning. You have enough time for this, to be honest. Okay, so no sick, a new drug that can cure a common ailment that until now has been fatal for 50% of those infected, okay, is made from the root of the Kentucky banjo bush. You can extract this medicine from a place called Kentucky, okay, and the banjo bush of it. The banjo bush is rare in Kentucky. This is the keyword here, it's rare, and large quantities of roots are necessary in order to make no sick. We need larger quantities, so it can be concluded that therefore if no sick remains in production, the banjo bush will eventually become extinct. We need something here that will call into question, that means undermine the conclusion, that means will not accept this conclusion and will find a solution for this. Okay, so if you went through the options here, you can pause now and try in your own. What is the answer? Okay, so for sure, if you looked at A, B or C, these do not answer the question, but you find D. The banjo bush, although native to Kentucky, can easily be grown in other parts of the United States. If it is easily be grown in other parts of the United States, will not have that problem of scarcity, and to produce more of it will never make it extinct. Okay, so we can plant it in other or grow it in other places or parts of United States. Now the inference, the other type of questions. Okay, you need to draw a reasonable inference based on explicit or implicit information and ideas in text. Inference questions, it is considered as the hardest question in the test, so you have to understand it very well before trying to answer it. Okay, and I advise my students to keep these questions to the end. Okay, not to answer this according to the sequence. Leave this question to the end because this will take time. So it is an unfinished passage. Based on information in the passage, you need to select the choice that most logically completes the text. The strategy is very easy. Understand the question, do as required, read every single sentence and understand it. The only way to answer this question properly is to understand every single question, every single sentence there, sorry. So compare the answer choices and eliminate the ones which cannot be logically concluded. Make extreme claims or are relevant or irrelevant. So in that question like this, which choice most logically complete the text, I advise every student to keep this question to the end of the test. Do not answer them according to the sequence of questions. So you find them just before the grammar section. The Native Americans actually welcomed the pale-skinned visitors primarily out of curiosity than anything else. So now he's talking about the Native Americans and how they see the visitors, European visitors. Okay, they came there out of curiosity. They were fascinated by steel knives, swords, fire-spewing cannons, Okay, brass, copper, utensils, etc. So they were fascinated with these items that these visitors brought with them. Eventually, cultural differences now come to something that shift here. Okay, cultural differences erupted. The natives could not stomach the arrogance of the newcomers. Who are the newcomers? The Europeans. Okay, the pale-skinned visitors, and the scant respect they paid to nature. So they did not give any respect to nature. The Europeans did not give any respect to what? To nature. The European settlers viewed every resource, either plants, animals, or people, even people, as something to be commercially exploited, so we can buy and sell. So they did not consider it something which is a value, not like what the native speaker. Okay, so it's Native Americans, sorry. The Native Americans. The Native Americans, in comparison, they do what? Neglected some aspects of their environment. It's far away from answer. Possessed weak and sickly constitutions, nothing related. This is irrelevant. Regarded nature worthy of respect. This could be an answer. Were terrified of invaders? No, because they welcomed them. Okay, here. So after reading every single sentence with understanding, it will be easy for you to get the answer. The most important thing is that transitional word here. You have to understand it, understand the last sentence, okay? Because this will help you to figure out what do you need here. Okay, I'll leave you now with the rest of the questions. Pause and try to answer it before we go to the next one. Okay, for this one, the answer is D. Okay, next one. Here we got the literally one. You have to find the quotation. Remember here, suggested that parents should not think children as their property, but as part of the universal soul. Okay, so you have to fulfill all these things. Yeah, the answer here, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of the lives longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. Which someone, it's incorrect, to be honest. Okay, we're not a part of that universal soul. Okay, we were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, question number 6. Okay, the answer is here. Question number 7. Read carefully every word that has a value here. Okay, you have to understand what mostly strengthen the manager's claim. Yeah, they will pay it once, but it will last forever. Number 8. Try your best, pause your video, try to answer it. Number 9. Logically complete, so you have to understand every single sentence here. Okay, and at the end here, you have to understand the last sentence very well, because this is the connection between the text and the options. Yeah, but that is correct. Number 10. That's the question. Yeah. Now we came to an end to this lesson. I hope you benefited something today. See you inshallah in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.